The French fry. It is more than just a side dish. It is a global obsession, a culinary icon that transcends borders. In the United States alone, the average person consumes nearly 30 pounds of French fries every single year. To feed this insatiable appetite, we need a manufacturing process that operates on a geological scale. Welcome to the potato heartland of the world, the high deserts of Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Here, the soil is volcanic, the days are warm, and the nights are cool. The perfect conditions for growing the king of the fry, the Russet Burbank. This specific potato variety is legendary not just for its large oval shape, which allows for long fries, but for its unique chemical composition. It has a high starch content and low moisture. This biology is critical. High starch creates a fluffy interior, while low sugar prevents the fry from burning too quickly in the oil. But turning a dirty tuber pulled from the earth into a pristine golden stick of fried perfection is a feat of high-speed industrial engineering. The journey begins at the raw receiving dock. Massive trucks carrying 50,000 pounds of potatoes each arrive at the factory 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They dump their loads onto conveyor belts that look like rivers of brown earth. The first challenge is debris. Potatoes grow underground, so they arrive with field stones, mud, and vines. The potatoes enter a rock trap, a water tank where the heavy stones sink to the bottom, while the buoyant potatoes float on top, drifting into the factory. This is followed by a de-stoner and a rigorous washing cycle. Now, the peeling. In your kitchen, you use a knife. In a mega factory processing 100,000 pounds of potatoes an hour, you use an explosion. The clean potatoes enter the steam peeler. This is a massive, rotating, high-pressure steel vessel. Once the potatoes are sealed inside, superheated steam is injected at pressures of up to 250 psi. The temperature spikes rapidly. This steam doesn't just cook the surface, it penetrates just below the skin, superheating the water inside the potato's subdermal cells. After a few seconds of this intense pressure, a valve opens and the pressure drops instantly to zero. Boom! It is a thermodynamic shock. The superheated water under the skin flashes into steam, expanding violently. This explosion literally blows the skin off the potato from the inside out. The peel flies away, leaving the potatoes smooth and clean. The potatoes then pass through a dry scrubber with rubber fingers to wipe away any remaining skin fragments. The naked potatoes are now inspected by the optical sorter. This machine uses cameras and lasers to scan every single potato in mid-air as they fly off a belt. It looks for green spots, solanine, rot, or black eyes. If a defect is found, the computer targets it, but it doesn't just reject the potato. Sophisticated systems use high-speed water jets to surgically cut out the bad spot while saving the rest of the potato. Now comes the technology that revolutionized the industry, the cutting. How do factories create millions of perfectly uniform square-cut fries without smashing the potato? They don't use a chopping blade, they use water. The potatoes are dropped into a massive pumping system. They are accelerated through a pipe by a high-velocity stream of water traveling at nearly 70 miles per hour. This is the hydro cutter. As the potato races through the pipe, the water aligns it lengthwise, ensuring it hits the blades straight on. At the end of the pipe sits a stationary grid of razor-sharp steel blades arranged in a crosshatch pattern. The potato hits this grid at highway speeds. Thwack! In a fraction of a millisecond, the whole potato is sliced into perfect shoestrings by the force of its own momentum. Because the water supports the potato on all sides during the impact, the strips are clean and sharp, with no shattering. It is a violent yet incredibly precise application of fluid dynamics. The cut fries, now called strips, tumble onto a grating screen. Shaking tables with holes of specific sizes sort the fries by length. The short, stubby pieces, nubbins, fall through and are diverted to be ground up for hash browns or tater tots. Only the premium strips continue. But if you fried them now, they would be a disaster. They are raw, full of sugar, and chemically unstable. To turn them into the fries we know, we must enter the world of food chemistry. We have the shape, but we don't yet have the fry. The raw potato strips are now pumped into the blancher. This is a massive, steaming hot water bath, usually kept around 170 degrees Fahrenheit. The blanching process is the secret to a consistent color. Raw potatoes contain natural sugars and enzymes. If you put a raw potato directly into hot oil, the sugars will caramelize instantly, turning the fry dark brown or black before the inside is cooked. The Maillard reaction. The hot water of the blancher leaches these natural sugars out of the surface of the potato. It also deactivates the enzymes that would cause the potato to turn gray or oxidize. By stripping the potato of its natural sugar, the factory creates a blank canvas. Now they can control the color. As the fries exit the blancher, they pass through a dextrose shower. They are sprayed with a precise solution of corn sugar, dextrose, and SAAP, sodium acid pyrophosphate. This might sound counterintuitive, removing sugar just to add it back, but it ensures uniformity. By coating the fries with an exact amount of dextrose, the factory guarantees that every single fry will turn the same shade of golden brown when you cook it, regardless of the season or the potato batch. The SAAP prevents after-cooking darkening, keeping the fries bright yellow. Next, the fries must be dried. They pass through a dryer tunnel where hot air blows off the surface moisture. This is critical. If the fries are wet when they hit the oil, the water will boil explosively, lowering the oil temperature and making the fries soggy. The dryer also creates a slight crust on the potato, which prevents it from absorbing too much oil. Now, the par fry. The dried strips enter a massive industrial fryer, a swimming pool of bubbling vegetable oil, heated to 375 degrees. But they are not fully cooked. They are par fried, partially fried, for about 45 to 60 seconds. This brief immersion sets the starch on the outside, creating a microscopic shell that will become the crispy crust. It cooks the potato just enough to kill any bacteria and stabilize the structure, but leaves the center raw. This double fry technique, once at the factory, once at the restaurant, is the scientific secret to the perfect texture, crisp on the outside, fluffy and mashed potato-like on the inside. The hot, oily fries exit the fryer and move immediately to the defatting shaker. Vibrating screens shake off the excess oil. Then they face the most extreme temperature shift in the process, the freezer tunnel. This is a technological marvel known as IQF, individual quick freezing. The fries enter a tunnel that is hundreds of feet long. Inside, liquid ammonia or nitrogen refrigerants drop the temperature to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. The fries are floated on a cushion of freezing cold air coming from beneath the belt. This fluidized bed keeps the fries dancing and separated. If they just sat on a belt, they would freeze together into a giant brick. By keeping them moving, they freeze individually. The speed of freezing is vital. Slow freezing creates large, jagged ice crystals that puncture the potato cells, turning the inside to mush. Rapid freezing creates millions of microscopic ice crystals that preserve the cellular structure of the fluffy potato. By the time they exit the tunnel, the fries are rock hard, brittle, and sound like glass when they hit the metal chutes. Finally, the packaging. The frozen fries cascade into multi-head weighers. These computers calculate the combination of fries needed to hit the exact target weight, 5 pounds, in a fraction of a second. The fries drop into plastic bags, which are sealed and packed into cardboard cases. Robotic palletizers stack the cases, and autonomous forklifts rush them to the sub-zero warehouse. These fries will remain frozen until they are dropped into a fryer at a fast food chain or a home kitchen. There, the final 3-minute fry drives the remaining water out of the surface, creating that iconic crunch. From a muddy field in Idaho to a steam explosion, a water gun knife, and a cryogenic freeze, the humble French fry is a product of intense physics and engineering designed to deliver the exact same taste and texture billions of times a day.